In today's lesson, we're going to be talking about some key features of the graph, and more specifically, the key features we're going to talk about are all going to be intervals. So first, let's go over, well, what is an interval? If you look up here, it says intervals will use only a certain letter, and the only letter that they use is going to be the x numbers from the graph. So no y numbers at all today. And then with intervals, you will only have one notation. There's no brackets, there's no braces. The only thing that you use with intervals are going to be parentheses. Okay, so remember, intervals are only x numbers, and you're only going to use parentheses around them. So now we have 4 types of intervals that we're going to have to list out for each question. The first 2 intervals, they kind of go together, positive and negative. The positive and negative, what you're going to do is you're going to look at the x-axis as your splitter. So it's going to split your graph in half on the x-axis. To be a positive, then your graph needs to be above your x-axis. And it could be 1 part, 2 parts, 3 parts. It just depends on the graph. Negative interval, well, if positive is above the x-axis, then that means negative interval is below the x-axis. So if I make a little picture here off to the side of my graph, okay, so parts above the x-axis. So here's my x-axis. I'm going to kind of highlight that in a yellowish color. Okay, so what is above the x-axis? So does everybody see this little part right here in pink? Okay, that's going to be positive because that's above. And then does everybody also see this part over here in pink? That is also going to be positive because it's above. Now for the negative, you would look at this piece right here because this is below the x-axis, so that's negative. And then also this piece right here. Now when we actually do the problems down below, we'll put numbers and stuff with it. I just kind of want to make sure everybody's okay with seeing the pieces and identifying whether it's positive or negative. So now let's move on to increasing and decreasing. Okay, for increasing and decreasing, I want you to think of, okay, if I draw the picture or trace the picture, however you like to say it. But if you're drawing the picture and you have to have increasing with a positive slope, then that means whenever you sketch it or draw it, that you're drawing something in the upwards direction. Sorry, upwards direction. If you draw for a negative slope, then that means you would be drawing in a downwards direction. Okay, so once again, I'm going to make the same little picture over again here to the side. Okay, we always go left to right with everything, so I'm going to start on the left. And here, I'm starting at the bottom because that's where my graph is. And if I trace it or draw it, this portion right here that I'm doing in the color black is being drawn in an upwards direction. So this would be increasing. And then, now I'm going to start, oops, let's change the color. Now I'm going to start drawing down. So this right here is drawing down, so that's decreasing. And then the last section, this part is drawing up, so that is increasing. Okay, the other background information you need to know is that some of these 4 will end up having more than one answer. if you have more than one answer, we're not going to write the word and in between them. Okay, in math, instead of saying and this and that, we're going to say it's a union. It's a union of two answers coming together. And instead of writing the word union, we actually have a lovely little symbol here, which is just the letter U. So we will just end up putting the letter U in between the two parentheses or three parentheses, however many it has. But as long as it has more than one answer, you will have the U. Okay, so now let's just kind of jump in and start some problems out. Okay, I'm going to start with positive and negative on the first one. So I'm a visual person, so I'm going to color in the x-axis right here in my yellow. And then if I start on the left side of my graph, this portion that I'm highlighting right here in red, that is above, so that's going to be positive. And you would start up here at the top at an arrow, and if you start at an arrow, that's negative infinity. And then all the way down to where it touches the x-axis, which is right here, and it touches the x-axis at -3. Okay. Then we're going to switch, and now this part here that I'm putting in the color green, you're going to notice that this is below the x-axis, so that makes it a negative. And you're going to go x number to x number. So the x number we start is at -3, and the x number over here we end is +3. Then you're going to notice we're going to go back to increasing. So this portion over here is increasing. So since increasing has another answer, I'm going to put a U here. And then we're going to start at this x number, which is 3. And then we're going to increase up at the top for an arrow. And an arrow on the right side means positive infinity. Okay, now we're going to switch over to thinking of drawing the picture. If I was to draw the picture, start on the left, so I'm going to start up here. And if I was drawing the picture, I would be drawing this pinkish line right here matching my picture, and you would notice that I'm drawing that in a downwards direction, so that would make that decreasing. So we're starting with an arrow on the left, so negative infinity. And then we're decreasing all the way to this split. And remember, give me the x number, and the x number for that split is 0. Okay, now we're going to switch to drawing in an upwards direction here. And if I'm drawing in an upwards direction, that's going to be increasing. So we're right here at the split, which once again, that split was 0. And then we're going to draw upwards all the way for an arrow, which an arrow on the right is positive infinity. Okay, the next one. Once again, I'm going to put in the yellow for the split. And I'm going to start with this part right here on the left, and this is below the x-axis, so that is going to be a negative. And we're going to go from negative infinity, because that's an arrow on the left, all the way to this x number right here, which is at -2. Then you're going to notice that this portion in red is above the x-axis, so that's going to be positive. And we're going to go x number to x number, so -2 to +2. Then we have another portion going down here below the x-axis. It's down below the x-axis. So for negative, we're going to go union. And then we're going to start at the x number of 2. Now don't let this part fool you. When we're doing this, we're going to have an arrow, but don't think arrow down because that's a y number. You got to remember these are only x numbers. So you got to think arrow on the right, which is positive infinity. Okay, drawing the picture. If I start on the left, I'm going to be drawing in an upwards direction. So put a little arrow here for drawing up. So that's going to be increasing. We're starting with an arrow on the left, which is negative infinity. And then we're going to go right here to the split, and the x number for that is 0. Then you're going to switch and you're going to be drawing in a downwards direction. So that's going to be decreasing. So we're going to start here where we left off, which is at 0. We're drawing down for an arrow, but remember the arrow's on the right side, so positive infinity. Okay, C. Here's my split line. Okay, above the x-axis, we have this portion here in red. So that's going to be positive. And let's go x number to x number. So negative 4 to 0. Then we switch to below the x-axis. So that's going to be negative. And let's go x number to x number. So that would be 0 to positive 4. Then we have another portion that is above the x-axis here in red. So we're going to go union. And then x number to x number. So that's going to be 4 to 6. So now let's think about drawing the picture. Okay, if I'm drawing the picture, I'm going to start here on the left, and if I draw this direction, I'm going downwards, down, down, down. So that's going to be decreasing. We're going to start at negative 4. And then we're going to draw down all the way to the split here. And the split is at positive 2. Then you're going to notice we're going to draw in an upwards direction here. All of this in purple, we're drawing up. So that's going to be increasing. So we're going to go here where we left off, which is at 2. And then we're going to draw all the way up to this split, which has the x number of 5. And then finally, this portion is drawing down. So this is going to be another decrease, so union. We left off here at 5, and we're going to draw down to this dot, which has the x value of 6. Okay, D. I'll draw in my split line here if you're a visual person. Okay, this portion is above the x-axis, so that's going to be positive. And we have an arrow on the left, so that's negative infinity. And then the x number here is negative 10. Then this next portion is below the x-axis, so that's going to be my negative. And that's going to go x number to x number, so negative 10 to negative 5. Then you're going to notice that we draw above again, And then this part is a little different because we're going to go x to x right here. Okay, so we start on the x-axis and then we're going to go to where we touch the x-axis again. So that's in my maroon. This is still going to be positive, so union. And then we're going to go x number of -5 to x number of 0. Then we're going to start here at 0, and in blue, this part right here until I touch the x-axis again. So start on the x-axis, go until you touch the x-axis again. That's still going to be positive because it's above, so union. X is 0 all the way to x, which is 5. And then finally, this last part starts at 5 and goes forever and ever. That is above, so union. And we're going to go 5 to positive infinity. Okay, now if I was to draw the picture, I start here on the left and I'm drawing downwards till right here. So that's going to be decreasing. Arrow on the left is negative infinity, all the way to the split, which the split has an x value of -8. Okay. Then we're going to be drawing up. Whoops, I didn't change the color. We're going to be drawing upwards here, all the way to this split. So that's going to be increasing. So where we left off is -8, and all the way up to the split, which has the x value of -2. Then we're going to end up drawing downwards to this split. So union. So where we left off is -2, all the way down to the split, which is in the middle, so that's 0. Then we're going to draw upwards to this split. So union, where we left off, which was 0, to the split at the top, which is 2. Then we're going to draw back down again to here. So where we left off, which was 2, and then draw down to the x number of 5. And then one more time, we're going to draw up. So where we left off, which was 5, and then we're going to draw up for an arrow on the right, which is positive infinity. Okay, on the last one, you should pause the video and try this one yourself. And then when you have your answers, unpause the video and then check them and see if you got them correct. Okay, if you've unpaused your video, then here are my answers. So hopefully you check them. If they're great, wonderful. If not, then please make sure you put a star by that so you remember to ask me tomorrow.